Hello friends, today we are going to learn about the effect of stainous ligature on frog's heart. Now before we get into the detail about the stainous ligature and we know what stainous ligature is, where do we apply the stainous ligature, what is the effect of stainous ligature, let us know about the anatomy of the frog's heart. What you see here What you see here is the picture of the frog's heart giving us a dorsal view and the ventral view. The frog's heart has three chambers, two auricles and one ventricle. What you have to keep in mind is this point, which is called as the sinus venosus. Sinus venosus in frog's heart acts as a pacemaker, very similar to the sinoatrial node of human heart. Similar to the properties of the cardiac muscles of a human heart, the property of autorhythmicity can be proved in a frog's heart. What is autorhythmicity? Autorhythmicity is the property to generate its own impulses. Now coming back to this experiment, the principle of this experiment is that by applying the ligatures at different locations, we can demonstrate the property of autorhythmicity, which I had told you in the last slide, and we can also demonstrate the different rate of discharge in different pacemaker potentials of the frog's heart. Now coming to the procedure, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to open the frog's heart, mount it onto the liver, and have to follow the same procedure as we do for recording of the normal cardiogram. The only thing that will be different here is that you are going to tie two ligatures at two different junctions. Here I am sharing with you a YouTube link where you can see how a frog's heart is isolated. First of all, after mounting the frog's heart and taking a few of the normal cardiogram recordings, we have to identify the place where we are going to first tie a thread and make the first ligature. The first thing that we have to do is we have to look at the junction between the sinus venosus and the atria, and this can be marked by looking at the white crescentic line which is present at this junction. What you do here is that you are first tying the knot around this junction, and this will be called as your first ligature. After you have tied the first ligature, mount the liver again for the recording position and take the recording. Once you see this recording on a moving drum, what is the first thing that comes to your head is that you see that the number of heartbeats have reduced than the previous recording of the normal cardiogram. This recording is the atrial rhythm. For the second ligature, you have to identify the junction between the atria and the ventricle, and at this junction tie a thread and place a ligature. This is called as the second ligature. After second ligature, the recording that we obtain on a moving drum will be the ventricular rhythm, and this rhythm will be much lesser than the atrial rhythm. Now in this slide, what you see is a picture of the first stainous ligature. As you can see here, this is the junction between the sinus venosus and the atrium, which is demarcated by the white crescentic line, and you have tied the first ligature. After tying the first ligature, the impulses which were coming from the sinus venosus to the atrium, they get interrupted. And for some period of time, there is no heartbeat. Afterwards, the atrium takes up the job by its property of autorhythmicity, and it starts beating. And what you get to see here is the atrial rhythm. The point that you have to note here is, in the normal cardiogram, the number of heartbeats were more than the number of heartbeats that you see in this atrial rhythm. Coming to this slide, what you see is a picture showing the second ligature. This second stainous ligature is tied between the atrium and the ventricle. So once you tie the stainous ligature, there will be a pause to the heartbeat. You will find that there is no heartbeat for a little period of time. But because Now what has happened is the atrial rhythm which were coming to the ventricles are being stopped because of this ligature. The ventricle takes up the job of autorhythmicity and starts giving its own impulses, what we call as the ventricular rhythm. The point that you have to see here is that as compared to the rhythm or the heartbeat that you see after the first taneous ligature, the number of heartbeats gets reduced after the second ligature. So looking at this A, B and C, what we know is that in A, for 5 seconds, we get around 6 heartbeats. After the application of first ligature, we get the heart rate as to be 4 beats, but after the second ligature, for the same period of time, we are getting 3 heartbeats. The overall recording which we see here is the first is the normal cardiogram, which is recorded for 5 seconds, and you can check here there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 heartbeats. But after you have applied the first ligature, you are able to record lesser number of heartbeats and even more lesser after you have applied the second ligature. Now what do you observe from here? What is very clear is that there is reduction in the heartbeat after the first ligature and still more reduction after the second ligature. So after the first ligature we get the atrial rhythm, but after the second ligature we get the ventricular rhythm. So that's why we say that the recording after the first ligature is the atrial type, whereas the recording after the second ligature is a ventricular type. Now what are the precautions that we have to take when we are doing this experiment? You have to follow all the precautions that has to be taken when you are trying to isolate a frog's heart. More than that, you have to take care about where you are exactly tying the ligature. The first ligature should be at the white crescentic line, which is actually a landmark for you to know that it is dividing the sinus venosus and the atria. The second ligature should be tied between the junction of the atria and the ventricle, or otherwise called as the atrioventricular junction. Now you have to take the recording immediately after you have tied the ligature. And one more care that you have to do is that your heart should not be dried. You have to properly rinse it with the Ringer's solution. Coming to the discussion for this experiment, as I have told you before, this experiment is actually a proof to the property of a cardiac muscle, which is called as the autorhythmicity. In frog's heart, sinus venosus acts as a primary pacemaker. But once we have tied the first ligature, we get that there is interruption between the transmission of impulses from the sinus venosus to the atrium and then to the ventricle. So what we get now is the atria takes over the job and it starts giving its own impulses, now called as the atrial impulses. And the heart rate or the number of heartbeats is less than what you had previously before the first ligature. Similarly, when you do the second ligature, the impulses from the atria is now blocked and the ventricles takes up the job of the autorhythmicity and it starts giving its own impulses. There is further reduction in the heartbeat as evident from the graph. So this experiment proves that the sinus venosus is the primary pacemaker of a frog's heart. Now when you come to the clinical significance, see in human heart, SA node acts as a primary pacemaker. So in human also, when there is interruption of impulses, either from the pacemaker or from the atria to the ventricles, we refer them to be as the heart blocks. Heart blocks can be of 3 types like first degree, second degree and third degree heart blocks. In the first 2 degrees of heart block, there may be an incomplete interruption, means there may be some of impulses still coming. So hence we refer this to be an incomplete heart block. But in complete heart block, there is complete blockage of transmission of impulses from the atria to the ventricles. So with this, we come to an end about the explanation of the effect of stainless ligature on frog's heart.